The LM Drive. LM Drive. This is the LM Radio Drive with Gavin Buckle.
How could I lose the only love I had? Somebody tell me why.
Taking you back to 2001, Danny Kaye there, taken off his self-entitled album, it was Hurts So Bad. It is The Drive on LM Radio and time for our mystery celebrity guest. The great thing about radio is even though the listeners have a relationship with the presenters on an audio and a social media basis, they don't usually see the presenters in the studio. I often come into the studio casually dressed and unshaven. Today, however, is different. Our mystery celebrity guest can not only see me on Zoom, but we're also going to post this video for all to see. Over the last week, I've been asking some cryptic questions as to who the guest is. Included in those questions were: clue number 1, my mystery celebrity guest hung out with Will Smith, Amy Winehouse, Johnny Clegg and Queen. Clue number 2, my mystery celebrity guest parties with Pink, Avicii, Martin Freeman and David Arquette. Clue number 3, my mystery celebrity guest could be Annie, Granny, the nanny. Isn't that uncanny? Clue number 4, my mystery celebrity guest's father claims he can sing, used to manage a band, and uses the sobriquet Funky 500 Pound. And my final clue, Fire Snake I Say, Tom Hardy, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Michael Fassbender, and my mystery celebrity guest. It's been amazing to see how many people have enthusiastically joined in on the fun. So let's see who correctly predicted the mystery celebrity guest. A very big welcome to the legend that is Danny Kaye.
Indeed. Welcome, listeners. Thank you for having me, Gavin, and all the LM listeners today.
Gavin Kaye, affectionately known here at LM Radio as the Funky Monkey, is a competent singer. However, he hasn't graced us with his singing abilities. He was also the manager of one of South Africa's biggest bands, that being Cinema, and of course is in fact your father. So Danny, tell me, how has your father influenced your life and musical views and your inspirations?
Well, I think he was the single biggest influence in creating kind of the musician you see today. And it stemmed from my very early childhood of just having music in my house 24/7. You know, my father just was a huge vinyl collector. I grew up listening to Motown and all the R&B music that shaped the songwriter and producer that I ended up becoming. And then I think going on the road with Cinema, the band he managed, and seeing the adoration of the fans for them. Also, I was just bewildered by this world of music and wanted to be a part of it so badly. And it planted the seeds in me at a very young age of trying to somehow decode how to get there. And the rest of my teenage years, was this pursuit of trying to be famous and trying to release an album. But it all stemmed from my father's influence.
And his singing ability, can you vouch for it?
My father is an amazing singer, and without a doubt, any genetic inheritance I got came directly from him. So I think the LM Radio listeners should encourage Gavin Kaye, the Funky Monkey, to play one of his old demos. He's got a few in a dusty cupboard somewhere. They should be unearthed and revealed on LM Radio.
You were born in 1977, so if my maths serves me correct, you're 43 years old and the eldest of 3 children?
That's exactly right, yes.
Then in 2003, your brother Jaron, who was only 23 years old at the time, was about to finish his accounting studies. He was also the managing director of a company and your manager. Sadly, he passed away. Briefly, what happened?
My brother was a very dynamic guy. He was the head of a very big business very early on in his 20s, and they went away on an excursion with the Exco, and they took these helicopters up to have breakfast somewhere in the game reserve, and it was a cloudy day, and unfortunately his helicopter crashed along with about 8 other people in it, and sadly they all lost their lives, and it was just the most tragic, and still is, event that ever happened to me, my family. Still to this day, can't really believe something like that can happen out of nowhere.
So how did Jaron's death alter your life perspective?
Well, I'd never really experienced such tragedy and loss. I came from a, typical normal family. I didn't know death to that extent. I was very close to my brother. I had to see the tremendous strain it put on my parents losing a child. And it was their strength that I think encouraged me to carry on and our family to knit together. So I'm tremendously conscious of how strong my parents were in light of this tragedy. But it gave me, like it would, a tremendous dose of perspective on life, the fragility of life, the importance of living for the moment, not taking people and things for granted. I actually ended up writing a great song out of my brother's tragedy, which is in no ways, compensated for his loss. But I think I used that as an expression of grief that a lot of other people can identify with. It was a song called I Can't Imagine.
And the album that song is on is titled J23, which is after your brother.
That's right. His name was Jaron, and at the tender age of 23. And J23 actually, in my music and all of my business endeavors that I've gone into subsequently, is the brand that I trade under. And it's really his spirit in my life every day. He's very forefront of mind to me, his ethics, the man he was. And I think when people pass, you want to remember their best and most endearing qualities and bring them into your own life as tools in which to live by. And Jaron still is very much a part of the man I am today.
Moving on to some of your achievements and accolades. You're the first South African musician to perform on the Oprah Winfrey Show in Chicago. You performed together with Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, Josh Groban and John Travolta. You've also toured and performed with some of the biggest international acts, people like Usher, Craig David, P. Diddy, Bob Geldof, and the list goes on and on. However, for me, the pinnacle is you being one of only 5 South African acts chosen to perform at Nelson Mandela's 4664 concert, broadcast to 3 billion people worldwide. So taking all of that into consideration, do you consider yourself a world superstar and a legend? Or what would you have to do to consider yourself a legend and a superstar?
Look, how I've lived my life is to never consider myself as achieving very much of anything. I think every achievement that I had, while I appreciated it and while I was very present in those moments, never was the end of my journey. And I think when you live your life thinking you're a legend, you've hit the peak, you start standing on very shaky, turbulent ground because, where to from there? So I think everything I did in my career and I continue to do, I don't rest on very much. You walk into my house, you don't even see very much evidence that I'm a singer or I've done these things at all. I try and sort of keep all of that very, very neutral and start every day, your album on a clean sheet and try and, I guess, harness that same energy that young teenager had when he was nobody, and they had achieved nothing. And that's the code that kind of I live by.
I'm a firm believer in not waiting for others to initiate change. And you seem to have the same mindset. Not all initiatives, though, are successful. You and Cabello formed Shout. What was Shout's catalyst, and has Shout been successful?
Lucky Dube's death was Shout's catalyst. A tremendous tragedy for me personally. I was a huge Lucky Dube fan. The first concert my dad ever took me to see was a Lucky Dube show at the Standard Bank Arena. And I felt tremendously embarrassed to be a South African the day Lucky was murdered in that hijacking. And Cabello and I just wanted to create some positivity, some change. We wanted to, we wanted to gather the creative industry and create just a song. And what started as a song a decade later has donated tens of millions of rands in the fight against crime and violence, has built a dozen libraries in schools around the country educating our youth. And our latest drive, Shout for Masks, has put literally millions of masks in the hands of healthcare workers to battle COVID-19. So the moral of the story is I'm no hero, but starting something can lead to very, very big things. So like, a small spark into a big flame, if you have the right passion and the right drive and the right why, I guess why you're doing these things can really do a big thing. So, encourage listeners, anyone out there, it's not too late to be a part of the solution when you see a problem in and around yourself.
So finally, Danny, where to from here for Danny Kaye?
Who knows, I think you'll find that anything that I do, I'll try do with passion, with excellence, as to kind of further the legacy I'm trying to leave behind. I'm a father, a husband now, so I'm trying to be the best I can be at that. But just a very proud South African, in love with this country, in love with what I do, very grateful that I've had the life I've had. And I'll just continue to make music, to try and create positivity and I guess to lead a happy and fulfilled life.
Amazing. Thank you very much for your time, Danny.
Thank you, Gavin.
From the album J23, written specifically for his late brother Jaron, this is Danny Kaye and I Can't Imagine.
The LM Drive. LM Drive. This is the LM Radio Drive with Gavin Buckle.